AFC Bournemouth are one of the informed sides in the Premier League. Actually, our form mirrors that of Liverpool and Arsenal, of course, the top two in the Premier League. How have we done it, and what was our last two games like? Welcome to this new feature here on Up the Cherries in all departments. It is a review of the big matches. So, I tell you what, let's start with Saturday's game against the Toffees. Everton, a side who are plagued with lots of issues off the field. Of course, there is rumours of a further points deduction by the time you watch this video. That points deduction may be in place and the Toffees may have fallen a few more places. However, the Toffees haven't been too bad performance wise. Earlier on in the season, they have struggled of late though, and they come to Dean Court in different form. However, let's look at it this way. Everton really did set the stall out defensively. It looks like the break did them a lot of favours. Tarkowski is a fantastic defender. Of course, Jordan Pickford isn't England number one for no reason. He's a top quality goalkeeper. So let's have a look at one of the first incidents, which was a Semenyo shot, and it was a very very good shot from the right hand side. Pickford, of course, saved it, but it did go back into the path of Lewis Cook, who then fired it over the bar. Unfortunately, it's the way it happens. I think Lewis just didn't have enough time to actually position himself correctly. But personally, he's he's been absolutely fantastic this season, as has Semenyo. We'll come on to him a little bit later on as well. Um, a lot of people are saying about Neto and whether or not he deserves his position in the squad at the moment. Mark Travers, I think, is a very, very capable keeper. Of course, I think, he's always had that little bit of a confidence issue after that 9-0 drubbing at Anfield. I was there, quite some time ago now, probably about 18 months ago when we think about it. So, if not more. Um, and he's never got back in the side. Neto, though, really did show there was a point. Calvert Lewin had quite a good shot from a good position, and Neto saved it very, very well. Got down well, and to be honest, that's what he's good at. We'll go on to what he's not so good at in a moment and why these questions are being asked. But, you know, if there is a shot coming straight directly at him, you would expect him to position himself well and make that save. But there is failings in Neto, as we all know. And we'll ask that question. And actually, there's a little bit of a theory somebody did mention to me yesterday at the Crystal Palace game, which, to be fair, I would like to put out to you, the audience. Let me know what you actually think about this. It's quite an interesting one. So do hold on for that. Whilst you're doing that, though, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and that bell button. Make sure you know where that comment section is so you can leave your thoughts. Um, Now, of course, we did, you know, go in front against Everton, and the it was a great ball from Lloyd Kelly. I think Lloyd Kelly, and this is one thing that really bugs me. A lot of people have been very critical of Lloyd, and that stems back to that Burnley performance. Now, don't get me wrong, that Burnley performance was absolutely atrocious. Lloyd will say that, as will, I'm sure, Gary O'Neill. However, players do have bad performances in their careers, and this shouldn't follow Lloyd Kelly around because he is a top class goalkeeper. It's no surprise that Eddie Howe is being linked with him. He's being linked with a move abroad. Tottenham Hotspur are being linked with him. There is no surprise in that. And I think, unfortunately, in a Cherries shirt, Lloyd Kelly's time is probably coming to an end. And I'm really disappointed about that because his crossing is good. His position is good. He has gone through some confidence dips like everybody. Phil Billings, one of those who, I will, say confidence wise, as soon as his confidence drops, he really is a completely different player. And I'll go on to another player who I think his confidence might be waning a little bit, and we just need to take a little bit of added care. Again, I'll save that for the moment. But the cross was pinpoint perfect. Solanke, great header, fantastic. Now, Everton, of course, equalised with not long remaining. And this is where my concern of Neto comes. Now, Neto, should have come and claimed that ball. There is no two words about it. You know, Beto should never have managed to get, his uh, get, get that control of the ball at all. To be honest, it was poor. It was poor. And Neto was late. He left too much to Metham. Now Metham, again, is a player who I think probably struggles at this level. He is a solid defender. I really like um, Chris, and the problem is sometimes I think he's a confidence player. He looks very, very good for Wales, but the cross come in. I don't think it was Mep's fault at all. Neto should have been there. Earlier on, with his time with us, and when Travers was dropped, Neto was coming for those balls confidently. Now, why do I think that is? Well, again, I'm going to save it till the end, and that's the big, big question at the end of this video. What I think might have actually happened, and like I say, this was not my thinking. It was somebody who I was speaking to yesterday at the Palace game, and it's a very, 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 very good point. And I think, you know, it's something that maybe we need to consider. It's nothing against the person who, I will mention, but at the same time, it's something that, I'd like to put to the fans, see what you think. We was lucky though, and Seamus Coleman. It was a moment to forget for him where the ball. It was a great cross, but to be fair, um, Seamus Coleman is a very very experienced defender. And it was that moment of probably madness. Probably it's a mistake that happens in football, and I'm sure that Seamus is going to be as disappointed about that as anybody else. It just ricocheted off him and went into the back of the net. Could he have done much more about it? Well, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we're thankful that it went in the back of the net and got us the 3 points. Were Everton unlucky? I would say we were the better side. I think we performed better on the day. I think we were in control of the game for large periods. We had that moment of madness from Neto at the back. Did he call for it? Did Metham just leave it? Did it's one that I'm sure that Iriola has worked on, and so it showed in the Palace game. But personally, I think we deserved the 3 points. But Everton, are they one of the three worst teams in this division? I've got to be honest, I don't think so. I think Everton look very good. They've got lots of heart. I think they are stretched. It's fair to say that. I think they're a stretched side. I don't think that they have got depth in quality, but they have got the quality there, and I think that should see them across the line. So, any Toughest fans, leave your thoughts. How did you think you were the better side? Everybody is welcome to their opinion. My opinion, we were marginally the better side. However, I don't think Everton will be in any trouble, and I hope not. Of course, points deductions I'm taking that out of this because, let's be honest, I've said it before, Richard Masters really needs to resign for what he's done to Everton Football Club, one of the stalwarts of the Premier League, one of the four founders of the Premier League, are really being stitched up. And really do feel sorry for Everton. And of course, it's come out that there's been big losses again. So what does that mean for next season? Who knows? Who knows? So let's move on to our game against Crystal Palace yesterday. So, of course, the 2nd of April. Both games come very, very close. I do apologise for not doing a preview ahead of the Palace game. I was busy, of course, bank holiday weekend as well. So it was nice to chill out. But here's what I say about the Palace game. Initially, um, let's be honest, the weather was shit, and that's putting it mildly. It was teeming down with rain, swirling rain, and it was what I expected it to be scrappy. I was surprised actually by some of the changes that had been made. There was 5 changes in total from the Everton game. Semenyo didn't start. Bit surprised about that. Billings started again. A little bit surprised about that. Um, Kelly, of course, was starting. Wasn't really so surprised about that, and I was quite happy with that change. But you know, changes wise, a little bit more surprised at the lineup, and I wasn't sure what it was going to bring. Uh, One thing I would say at this point is, as well as it was scrappy, there was one player who I did think was a little bit naive. I think I tell you what, let's leave that for the moment. Let's leave that for the moment because let's mention one man, Phil Billing, excellent. I thought Phil Billing was excellent yesterday, and so it showed Smithy corner, not a corner crossover from the right hand side, and then it was headed by Billing, and of course tipped just over the crossbar. Then the corner come in, and Kelly himself then had an excellent header, with the chance that just whistled past the post. Both very, very, very good opportunities. Now, Crystal Palace did look like they had gone in front, and that was through Erebeshi Eze. Now, I think that we were very, very lucky with this. We've had these go against us, so let's thank our lucky stars we got this one. Nobody can begrudge us that. But one player that I feel doesn't need to be picked out on is Alex Scott. Um, and Alex Scott is a youngster. He's still learning the game. I think personally, he has got such a good future. Is he, the man that everybody says is going to be double what he's worth, what we bought him for at the moment? No, I don't think so at all. I think, there was a bit of naivety. There was naivety in the challenge. And then, of course, the cross come over. And a nice bit of play into Erebesh. He has his feet. Defence really had no chance with that. And, of course, Eze put it in the back of the net. Now, the good thing was that Crystal Palace man was offside, but it was slender and it was very, very close. And we don't want to be doing that too often. And I think Alex Scott, and I think the decision that was made at half time to bring Alex Scott off was firstly the right decision by Areola. I think he's a player that I think maybe has lost a little bit of confidence. He shouldn't lose confidence though, because he's done so much in an AFC Bournemouth shirt. He's done so much in a Bristol City shirt. He's an excellent player and he's got great prospects in front of him, but he's not ready really at the moment to take that next step beyond us. No way. And I think if he did, and of course, this will bring me on to another player. I think that, he could find himself a little bit lost on teams' benches. I think Kelly, it's sad to say, but I think Kelly will leave the club during the summer, and I think he is able to make the step up to a Newcastle or a Spurs. Um, he may have to play second fiddle for a while, but he will make his name there. Alex Scott, I think, as we've seen with Calvin Phillips at Manchester City after he left Leeds, I think it could be a bit of a poison chalice if Alex Scott was to leave AFC Bournemouth, go somewhere else too soon. Um, but he will get there, and he's a very, very good, promising player. So if Alex is watching this, just make sure. Give your 110%, which you are doing. Learn from your mistakes, and at the end of the day, don't don't dwell on what's happened and the errors that are made, because every player in the stages of their career that you're in will make those mistakes. So um yeah, it's things that need to be put right, but at the same time, I think Alex Scott will definitely get there. But like I say, the goal was chalked off, so let's forget that. Eze's goal did not count. Crystal Palace fans went mad for a bit, and then of course half time come, and to go into half time 0-0, relief, calmness. Um, of course, the substitutions came at half time. Semenyo, this man, is brilliant. I really, really, really do rate this man. Um, and he was a player, like I've always said on this channel. When I saw him at Bristol City, he blew hot and cold. He's a dedicated player. He's a passionate player. Of course, on that right hand side, he's been fantastic for us. I thought he blew hot and cold, and I wasn't overly excited by his signing, when we did. But under Iriola's got the very, very best from him. So honestly, he was excellent and an absolutely inspired substitution. Um, Kirkes, of course, did come on during the game as well. And to be fair, he was chomping at the bit to get on. He feels like it feels like he's got a point to prove. Now, of course, he come on for Watara. Got to say for Dango, and what I'm going to say about Dango is that I do feel that he does and this is what's crazy. He's a midfielder by trade. Defensively, I think he did all the right moves. I think he stopped play. I think he caused Palace problems when they were going forwards. I really do rate him in that left back position. What he isn't particularly that great at is distribution, which is weird because the thing is as a midfielder, you'd expect that to be, his core attribute to ping the ball around, get open up play. That should be what Watara is great at. But he doesn't seem to be. His passing isn't particularly the greatest, but I think, in the left back position, he does it well. Of course, the other man to come on was Justin Kluivert. And Justin Kluivert, he does take after his father in a way. He does see a bit of the red mist, but as soon as he come on, it was bags of energy, and that goal, well, well, well taken. Late in the game, he knew exactly what he was going to do. Fantastic goal. And yeah, he's one player that I really, really, really do rate. There was a couple of moments at the end of the game. I think our defence went asleep a little bit. We lost concentration. Smithy, there was a VAR call. Whether or not Smithy brought down Erebeshi Eze, yeah, that man again in the box. Um, it was judged that Smithy didn't bring him down. So again, we got away with one. Um, I think Eze was looking for it. I think the right decision was made. However, we've seen them being given the other way and against us in particular. At that point, it was good to see Max Aarons back in the squad and get back onto the pitch as well. And I think Smithy was flagging a little bit at that point, and that's no disrespect to him. I think, his age. Um, I think, unfortunately, it does catch up with players. He's kept himself very, very fit, but whether or not he can keep up with somebody like Eze, who is, you know, a youngster himself, who is quick. Um, I think what Smith is seen is seen a second wind in his career this year. Now, I said against Brighton last season, uh, Mitoma was beating him every single time, and that was because of his positioning. Now, his positioning, he seems to fall back a little bit further, which gives him that added edge, on his defence, and that's great. I think he's done brilliantly. I think he's acknowledged that maybe he's a little bit slower than he used to be, but at the same time, he's actually adapted his game for that. And, that's why he's in the squad over Max Aarons. I think Max Aarons has been fit for a number of weeks. Max Aarons is a very, very good defender. But at the same time, you can't take out a defender who's playing as well as Smithy. And Smithy, yeah, I think, he's brilliant. Now, of course, I did mention about Neto and something that was brought up to me. Now, one thing with Neto, and I noticed this both yesterday and also in the Everton game, is, and I've already mentioned it on this video, Neto isn't coming for the ball like he was last season. And probably pre-January. And do you know what? This is a very, very good point. And to be honest, I agree with this. Now, if you remember when Artur Boruc was here, he struggled a little bit with this as well. Where he was coming for the ball, he seemed to like to stay on his line, or it looked like he looked like to stay on his line. Now, of course, Neil Moss had just come in at that point, and I think Neil Moss has probably adapted and said, "Look, let the defenders deal with the crosses when they come in, and you stay on your line and prepare." Um, I don't think that's what Boric was very good at, and I don't think that's what Neto is very good at. And I think that's why that goal was conceded against Everton. Is that Neto was in two minds whether or not to come for the ball. Now he did come for the ball in the end, but it was a real hash. It was too late, and it's not what you expect from Neto. Um, I think, my question to everybody is, has Neto struggled since Neil Moss come back in December 2022? So not this December just gone, but the December beforehand. Do fans feel that maybe he's he's gone back a little bit, in his terms of performance since that point? He's not coming for the ball confidently, whereas before, he would do. He would come out, command his line a lot more. Um, that is my question to you. So, do you feel that since Neil Moss has been back at the club, that Neto hasn't been coming for the ball as confidently as he did prior to Neil Moss rejoining? Now, I'm not saying Moss is at fault. What I am saying, though, is does it suit Neto? Now, to be honest, there is goalkeepers there that do rush out their goal and then make a right hash of things. And, that is fine. And to be fair, you know, in Neil Moss's day, when he was playing, there was a lot of goalkeepers that were like that, and even at the top level, you name a couple, even at the highest level, Fabian Barthez used to rush out like a headless chicken sometimes, completely get it wrong, in the back of the net it goes. Whereas if he stood on his line, would be able to catch it a lot better. It's just a thought. It's an interesting one. Does anybody agree with it? We shall see. And also, do let us know your thoughts on Alex Scott. Is he the finished deal at the moment? How long is it going to be before he's the finished deal? What? do you feel that he might need to improve on? Do let us know what you think of both of these games and also my opinions on them. Maybe you've got a different opinion. Everybody's opinion is valid here at Up the Cherries in all departments. That's it for now. That's the big match review over. Um, look forward to reading your thoughts. Until the next one, thanks for joining us again.